I'm Adam Anshel for Pro Football Weekly, along with senior editor Eric Edholm. Now that the draft is over, usually the attention turns to rookie free agents, the guys that weren't drafted as teams try to fill out their rosters, but this is not a usual year. With the lockout in place, that can't happen, but that doesn't mean some of those talks aren't actually going on. Eric, you've gotten a chance to talk to some agents. You're hearing rumblings that teams are still maybe contacting.
Yeah, I reached out to 12 agents and heard back from 6 of them that said that, despite the rules in place, despite the fact that it would be considered tampering, NFL teams did in fact reach out to their clients, the undrafted players that they would like to bring into their camps. Now, they can't sign them to a contract now. That doesn't mean there's some back channel, behind the scenes action going on. A lot of the agents rather reported that teams were calling on personal cell phones as opposed to work cell phones, just in case the NFL might audit them and try to bring up tampering charges. So, a little bit of suspicious activity going on here, but look, it's been going on for a while. We know there's been tampering in the past with NFL free agency.
The lack of player movement hasn't stopped people from at least hearing rumors or, debate about who may be going where. How much of that stuff is actually going on, do you think, among teams and agents?
I think a lot of it has already happened. I talked to agents back at the Combine who said they had meetings set up with teams, that they were talking about their soon-to-be free agent clients. And, of course, at that point, we didn't know when free agency would begin. The labor mess had really kind of thrown off the NFL schedule. But they already had a pretty good idea where their clients might end up. Obviously, they did their own homework, but teams have also sent their signals and said, look, we're going to go hard after these guys. It would probably be impossible to track all this tampering that's going on, but there is some, rest assured, there is some of it going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some interesting draft strategies where teams that had needs weren't really filled. Is there kind of a wink-wink? Do you think there's kind of a wink-wink agreement between some of these teams that they already know who they're getting?
Yeah, I think there's certain teams, like take the Arizona Cardinals, for instance. Everybody assumed they would go after a young quarterback. It makes some sense, but I think Ken Whisenhunt knows that based on the class that just came in with the rookies, none of those guys excited him to the point where he could justify taking him at the number 5 pick. He probably felt like he had to trade up in the bottom of round, or the top of round 2 into the bottom of round 1. Didn't want to do that. So they're looking the veteran route. A guy like Kevin Kolb, we reported that they had a deal in place should the lockout have been lifted if player movement was allowed. But they've probably got a plan B and a plan C too. I would think that Kyle Orton is somebody that they have to look at, and maybe Mark Bulger, a guy who would come cheaper. He might be their plan C. So absolutely these teams have figured out these are the avenues we want to take when player movement is allowed.
So while the teams may have a pretty good idea of who may be going where, who they may be able to get, we're still left to try and figure it all out. Hopefully that will answer itself soon enough with the decision. That is a look at the latest what's going on with player movement in the NFL. For the best coverage of the NFL, be sure to follow us on Twitter or go to ProFootballWeekly.com.